And we have two guests this evening, and the first one is Tom Miller Jr. from Saginaw Future, who will be providing a planning activity update.
Good evening, and we have a new remote control, so if this doesn't work, it's Jeff Klopsik's fault. Good evening, Mayor Branch, council members, Manager Morales. First, on behalf of Saginaw Future, I'd like to thank the mayor for his years of service, for his leadership through some pretty tough economic times, and for his support of economic development activities in the city of Saginaw. We'd also like to thank Councilman Wendt for his years of service and support as well. I'm here today to talk about three planning initiatives, and I think sometimes the city gets unfairly accused of not being inclusive or not doing some of the planning activities as a part of all the federal funds that we receive. And so there is always activities going on in planning and strategizing about how to best use some of the funds that we get and some of the programs that we're seeking to implement. And I'd like to talk about three of them today. So the first one, which we've already talked about, is the design charrette. There was some confusion about the schedule and where different events were going to take place, so it's up there for everyone to see. And notice that the first and last meetings will be at SVRC Industries, and the middle three will be at Great Lakes Crossroads. That's the old Armory building downtown. And those are the public meetings, so there's some public input sessions, but there's also the Charrette planning group that will be meeting, I think, 8 hours a day for those 5 days. But those are the public meetings. And speaking with the folks that are hosting the design charrette, as the manager said, you can't plan in a vacuum, and unless you have public participation from a lot of different stakeholders, you're not really accomplishing what you set out to. So they would really like to have a good turnout and a good mix of different ideas and opinions. And so if anyone could make it, especially council members, that would be good. The second initiative, which is also on the agenda later in the council packet, is the Michigan Main Street program. This is part of the Trust for National Historic Preservation. The idea is to set up a sustainable model for growth and development of traditional downtown settings. They seek to do this through 4 items you see listed here. The Old Town Business Association applied for this designation a couple of years ago, and our primary focus has been on the organization and promotion of activities. I serve as the secretary of the Old Town Saginaw Association, and I recall when we first started about 10 years ago, the group has actually been meeting since I believe the late 1800s, mostly continuously. I'm sure there's been some gaps in meetings, but when I first got involved, we were very unorganized. We didn't have any of our financial records in order, none of our filings for our 501c3. And so our first order of business was to try and rectify that, and we got all of our books in order and our filings in order. And that's part of what Michigan Main Street, the initiative, seeks to do. Seeks to organize the group around an area to focus its efforts. And then we sort of moved on to promotion of festivals and activities, and you can kind of see those in the Lawn Chair Film Festival, the Easter Egg Hunt, the Hairball, Old Town Motor Fest, the Wine Walks, and many more. And those are all in thanks to the volunteers of the Old Town area. But the most recent success of the Strauss mixed-use developments and the potential condo developments have driven the board to sort of try and be more progressive thinking about how to move our district beyond where we're at currently. We're currently, as a neighborhood, debating, and we think there is support amongst the group to form a business improvement district to levy mills upon ourselves. You draw a district boundary around a certain area. In this case, it'd be Old Town. And what technically Old Town is a matter of debate. Is it the historic area? Is it between the one-ways? So we'll be settling that, but you can then levy mills upon yourselves to pay for things like to fix the sidewalks, to replace the street lights, pay for public safety, cameras, buy parking lots. You can do all sorts of progressive things. And so as part of this Michigan Main Street program, we are considering those initiatives to help move our area forward. The next item is a new one that has just recently come up in the past couple of weeks. It's the Michigan Placemaking Initiative. This is a collaboration between the Michigan State Housing Development Authority and the Michigan Municipal League. The concept is fairly simple. Site selectors and decision makers are weighting quality of life issues much more substantially than they have in the past in terms of where they want to locate their business and where young professionals want to live. In the past, you would simply pick an area based on tax incentives or the labor force or the electricity rates. But you see now businesses choosing it based on quality of life issues like the park systems, the school system, the amenities that are offered, the arts and culture are in an area. And so the Michigan Placemaking Initiative, we were contacted by the Michigan Municipal League and asked if Saginaw would be interested in applying for this designation. We met with the manager and we talked it over with the Michigan Municipal League about what a project would look like in Saginaw. And it came down to really the idea of supporting and leveraging the new CMU College of Medicine to further economic development in the riverfront area. If you'll remember, U3 is a group that started in the University of Pennsylvania, and they have done a lot of work in Midtown Detroit to help catalyze the development there. Midtown Detroit, if you're not familiar and haven't been there lately, it's the area just outside of the old Tiger Stadium in Corktown, the area around Wayne State. The area had seen decline over the 80s and the 90s and the 2000s. But if you go down there today, the change is dramatic. And I hadn't been there in 20 years. And going back, I parked my car and walked around for about 2 hours after our meeting with the governor. And it's really a nice community with mixed-use developments and sustainable housing. And so U3 came and did a preliminary study of Saginaw, and they came with the same conclusion, which was that their idea is to base your development around your anchors. So Covenant Hospital and St. Mary's Hospital have invested huge sums of money and have thousands of employees that report to their campuses every day in the city of Saginaw. And now you combine that with the College of Medicine and their new investment and the new students and the new faculty that will be a part of that initiative. And we feel that our Michigan Placemaking Initiative would be the perfect time to sort of plan to welcome the Central Michigan College of Medicine to town. We will focus on the College of Medicine, and we will specifically be focusing on leveraging their investments by exploring other supporting opportunities. So if you have a College of Medicine building new buildings and bringing new faculty and students, they're going to need other services that are going to go along with that. The example that U3 gives is that when they were looking in the University of Pennsylvania in their health systems, they were buying their buns, their bakery, their rolls for their cafeteria from a national food supplier that would truck them in on a truck and drop them off every week, which is fine. But they took a local bakery that had some capacity that was failing, and they signed a contract to purchase all of their buns and bread from this local bakery, which was in their neighborhood. And the bakery, because of that investment and contract, they were able to hire 10 people from the neighborhood, put in new ovens, and then they used that as a model and did that for things like laundry services and all the other sort of ancillary services that support the university and the hospitals. And so that would be one of the things that we would be looking at as a part of this program. As we talked about, as the manager mentioned, we have been working on the blight elimination grant, the $11.2 million hardest hit fund. We have been overlaying the dangerous buildings that are on that list, both the land bank and the privately held properties, and combining that with neighborhood data around the hospitals and around our anchors. And we're going to seek to leverage those investments by the federal government into Saginaw to maximize their effect on the campuses of St. Mary's and Covenant Hospitals. We are also going to investigate in some ideas around public safety. The Michigan Municipal League offered that all communities around the state, many communities around the state, are suffering the same problems that Saginaw are. Reduced budgets, reduced numbers in public safety, and increased crime. And so this is not a new or unique to Saginaw, and the Michigan Municipal League, are trying to think of some innovative approaches to public safety that we would hope we'd be able to leverage in helping to make the campuses brightly lit and monitored for public safety. So another area we would be looking at would be residential mixed-use projects. These are the College of Medicine's students are going to need places to live. We've already been talking with the university about they won't be building any dormitories, they won't be doing any sort of student housing. They're going to leave that up to the private sector. And we've already hosted a meeting with local developers and the Chamber of Commerce to help to identify potential areas where these students would live. Bancroft and Eddy being one of those natural places where the students might like to live. But we'd like to further explore what other options are out there, what would be appropriate, how to aggregate them in one place, and then how to get that information to the students. The last item that we would be looking at for this initiative would be, we've been working, some of us, piecemeal sort of on these recreation initiatives. As you know, the city doesn't have a recreation staff, but Jeff Klopsick and Rich LeBombart from the engineering department and Phil Carwatt, we all sort of get together and try and put these programs together, whether it's the skate park or the pathways or the east side or the west side Riverwalk. And so we'd like to explore the opportunity to perhaps look a little bit larger and add in a project as a part of this Michigan Municipal League's look at the riverfront in general and see if we can do something really impactful for the College of Medicine. We've had this idea on the Riverfront Commission about connecting Pawdoff Park to the west side so that we could have a nice riverfront loop system and then connect that to the hospitals. So if you see a lot of people from AT&T, they'll walk behind their building and they'll walk down Pawdoff Park and they'll walk to the farmers market, but we don't really have a good connection to the hospitals. And we have a little connection on the west side, but not too much. So when I live in the city, and when I ride over the Court Street Bridge, I can ride down Pawdoff Park, but you sort of dead end at Genesee, and then you just have to turn around and come back. So ultimately, we'd like to see that trail connected to the Saginaw County Rail Trail system. I mean, that's probably a long-term goal. But so we want to look at a bunch of different items, essentially, to help support CMU and really make that project a success. We're doing all of these things first because we want to get public input. Again, this isn't 5 people sitting in a room making decisions about the sort of activities that are going on. We would like to get stakeholder input and public input. And secondarily, we really want to make sure that the money that we do receive is spent wisely so that the citizens of Saginaw know that we are really trying to focus our efforts in a smart way. And those are essentially the planning activities that are going on currently, and I can answer any questions if you have them.
I just want to make one point of clarification. When you talk about the Charrette being at SVRC, you know we have multiple locations.
That's true.
And so this opening and closing is going to occur at 1000 Tuscola at the charter school.
Yep.
So that we don't have people showing up at 919 Veterans Memorial Parkway.
That's right.
I just wanted to make that point of clarification.
1000 Tuscola, so write that down.
That's all I have. That's all I have.
Thank you very much. First of all, Mr. Miller, I want to thank you and everybody from Saginaw Future for the past 8 years, for all your hard work and dedication for Saginaw, our citizens, our business leaders. I mean, our businesses would not be successful without you. I know how much you're partners with them, friends with them. You work on a daily basis with them, almost probably every day. You work with some tremendous people. And I just want to say thank you and everybody that works with you. Joint Inquiry, we'll just start naming everybody. We'll forget somebody. But I want to say thank you because I think without you guys, our economy would be really bad here in Saginaw. I know that your main goal is to make sure that we continue, diversify, and find jobs for our citizens. And I just really appreciate the hard work over the 8 years, and I wish you guys the best of luck. And if there's anything I can do, just give me a call. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Miller.
I just would also like to mention on the Michigan Placemaking Initiative, Councilman O'Neill has also been talking to the MML about that project, and he's been communicating with Mr. Miller and Ms. Crary, and he will be the he would like to be the council contact on that project, which I think is appropriate. He's on the committees with the MML, and Mr. Miller is very active in the planning community and the development community, and I think through Saginaw Future and his own time and through the west side and Old Town, he does a lot for the city. And it was interesting at the Riverfront Commission, almost every item updated was something that Tom is working on. So I think these are some of the positive things that are going on in the city planning and development, and I think we'll be seeing more of Tom in the future to give updates. They have even more exciting projects that they're working on that maybe they're not ready to discuss at this time, but I would like for them to come in the future and provide updates periodically.